Woo! So we just finished the Xbox Developer Direct for 2024, and it seems like Xbox is finally getting into that rhythm, right? They're going to put these out at the top of the year, let us know what we could look forward to for the rest of the year, and I think it's a good cadence they're kind of getting into. And we knew ahead of time we're going to see Aura History Untold, we knew we were going to see Hellblade 2, we knew we were going to see Avowed, and we knew we were going to see Indiana Jones. Now, we didn't know if there might be some surprises, some shadow drop, but there was a little bit of that, some release dates and everything. So if you're into Xbox content and gaming content in general, please consider subscribing down below. And let's get right into the recap for the Developer Direct. So starting off, we had Avowed shown first, and this is a game that for a lot of people, this was their most anticipated game from the showcase. It was either this or Indiana Jones, because we've seen probably the least amount from these two games. Now, Avowed is that first person, dual wielding fantasy RPG coming from Obsidian Games, who have given us, Grounded, Outer Worlds, games like that. And, they've pretty much been very productive over the last few years. They're like Insomniac as far as, production goes and consistency for the Xbox team. Now, Avowed, we got a lot better look, behind the studio, some of the design, a lot of the monsters, a lot of the combat, some of the magic spells and the different types of enemies and ways you can fight. And it does seem that it's going to give you a lot of options as far as how do you want to fight. Do you want to go in with a sword? Do you want to use your wand to kind of fight, a little closer combat? There's plenty of ways to really approach combat in this game and how you want to play. We got to see the different kind of environments and some of the worlds. There's some like desert seeming worlds, some forest and things like that, typical things you can expect to see in an RPG. And now the other thing we also got to see, for people that love Obsidian and their RPGs like the Outer Worlds, we saw a lot of different narrative options, a lot of different conversations and ways, choice and consequence, like, hey, this is what's going on. Someone tells you a story, you can choose to believe them, you can choose not to, and it really alters how the game goes. Now, for me, the two games I was most excited to see was Avowed and then also Indiana Jones, not because I'm a big Indiana Jones fan, but just because I was curious to see how Machine Games handled it after, I'm a fan of Wolfenstein games, so I definitely wanted to see how they were doing it. But when it comes to Avowed, I'm not like a big Skyrim fan, but I do enjoy the Outer Worlds, some of Obsidian's other games and their humor and how they kind of take their approach to video games. So I was definitely excited to see this. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get a complete solid release date, but we did get a confirmation of a time window, and that will be fall 2024, which is exactly when I predicted the game would come out. I felt like this was maybe a September, maybe early October type of game, and it does seem like we'll be getting it sometime around there, before Call of Duty and everything else comes out. So Avowed can look forward to it in fall 2024. Next up was a game that everyone said, listen, we need a release date, and we did get a leaked release date. No one knew if it was true or not, but we saw Hellblade 2, which will be coming out. It was confirmed it will be coming out on May 21st, 2024. So that's a good time for this game to come out, I think. Some people thought this might be the big fall game, but I thought, if you're going to have Indiana Jones and Avowed, I feel like Hellblade, we've seen it since the Xbox Series X first got announced back in 2019. So it's been 5 years, and we got a lot better look at the game. Again, Hellblade is an experience, and the studio kind of, always shows us the behind the scenes with the music, the capturing the facial recognitions, the facial reactions, the different lighting techniques, the different way they're rolling around in the studio and capturing the body movements and the psychosis and all these types of things. And Hellblade is just going to be one of those games that it doesn't sound like it's going to be a somewhat long game. The first game was around 5, 6, 7 hours. So this one, I don't see it exceeding 10 hours. That would be nice. But I think this game's going to be more of a, marvel just to look at, like the technology, the way it captures the essence of the different, mental psychosis type parts of the game. The lighting, the combat's definitely like gory. It takes place in that 10th century, Celtic area in Iceland, and it just looked really good. It looks so good. A lot of people are looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I still need to finish the first game before it comes out, but I have plenty of time. So if you're looking forward to Hellblade 2, you can play it on May 21st this year. Then we got the surprise that a lot of people was looking forward to, like, okay, are we going to get a 5th game in this developer direct, kind of like what they did last year? And people didn't want to get their hopes up, but there was rumors that there would be. And we saw Square Enix pop up when they were showing the different studios that they're going to show. And everyone's thinking like, oh, it might be the Final Fantasy 14. That was my prediction. I thought we would get a release date for that, but instead we got an inside look at Square Enix and the Mana team. So the Mana series, it's been going on for 30 years at this point, and this is the first time that a Mana game will be coming to Xbox. So Visions of Mana, which is dropping summer this year, we got to see, you know, a full promo of that here, which pretty sure we knew it was going to come out on Xbox already, but I thought this was going to be maybe like a Game Pass announcement. Maybe they would show us like, hey, Secret of Mana and all the other Mana games are going to be in Game Pass or something like that, but we didn't get that. We didn't even get that this game would be in Game Pass, so I'm not entirely sure what this was, but it may just be the whole like planting the seeds of, we've seen Phil Spencer trying to expand that relationship with Square Enix and other Japanese publishers and get that some type of foothold in Japan, because Xbox just does not sell over there at all. So hopefully this will help with, you know, getting some more of the Japanese consumers over, at least get them on a Game Pass subscription or something. We've seen them do it with Atlas, and Visions of Mana looks really interesting. It's that like action RPG style. There's different aerial attacks, there's elemental attacks like fire, ice, and wind. You're going to be going to a bunch of different locations, and there's a bunch of different monster designs and everything, typical Square Enix JRPG stuff. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Whether it's on Game Pass or not, I'll probably pick it up. You can look forward to it too this summer. Then after that, we got what most people didn't really care about, including myself, which was Aura History Untold. But I know a lot of people do like these types of games, so I don't want to not include it. But it's that 4X civilization RTS sim type game that some people do like. People like Age of Empires, people like Civilizations and City Skylines and all these types of games. So the game, for those fans, it definitely looks interesting. There's a bunch of important leaders and historical figures throughout time. They tried to really get a lot of that and represent as many cultures as they could. There's of course the fighting, there's constructions, there's a lot of building and everything like that you can expect in a civilization type game like this. Now this game, I predicted that this would drop way sooner than it actually is. So I thought it was going to come out maybe like February, maybe March, just to give us that first quarter game, and then Hellblade in the spring, and then I thought Avowed like early fall, and then maybe Indiana Jones a little later. But they announced that this game will be coming out in the fall time. I'm not sure when that will be, because as of right now, we got 3 other games coming out in the fall, so I'm not sure where it's going to fit in there. But hey, if you're looking forward to this game, I think it's good. Game Pass gets that variety, and there's no shortage of different genres and games to play in Game Pass. So anything to just get more people in there and bolster up that revenue stream to keep putting more games in Game Pass is a good thing. You won't hear any complaints from me. So if you're looking forward to it, you could play Aura History Untold this fall. And then last up, but definitely not least up, we got our first look at Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Now this title was actually teased and leaked online. Some people thought it was right, some people didn't. There was some copyrights, which aren't always telling of something. Sometimes companies just buy copyrights and titles and things like that, but it does seem that is going to be the name of this game. Now this game's going to take place between Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Great Crusade. Now I'm not a huge Indiana Jones fan. I've never really sat down and watched the movie, but I was excited to see this game because I knew it was going to be in that Tomb Raider / Uncharted style of exploring, going through tombs, solving puzzles and things like that. And a big question people are going to have is, okay, is it going to be third person or first person? And we got our answer, where it's going to be a little bit of both. So it seems like most of the regular combat that you're going to is going to be first person, but then certain scenarios will cause the camera to naturally go into third person. So that goes in with climbing, that goes into certain action sequences, that applies to obviously cutscenes and things like that. So it seems really like it's like they spent time to have a good mix of the third and first person, and I think a lot of people will be happy with it. You know, you're not stuck in one style, and it uses it cleverly, and it does it smoothly. Like, it's not going to be a jump back and forth, like when you're using the whip to hop across somewhere or climb up the side of a mountain or a wall or anything like that. It's going to go in third person. You know, it's going to zoom out, show you doing that and traversing, which makes sense. You want to see the whole screen and how that's going through. The lighting in this game looks great. The mechanics, you know, machine games, like I said, I love the new Wolfenstein games that came out on Xbox One, and they definitely did their thing with this. You got Indiana Jones pretty much in the Wolfenstein world. And I really like the developers going into the whole, like, show us how they created the antagonist. They show that the antagonist and Indiana Jones are pretty much like the same person fighting on opposite sides. And then you also have there's going to be dual protagonists. Now, will you play as the other girl? I think her name was Gina or Rena, one of those names. And I'm not sure, it didn't show gameplay with her, but they're definitely going to work together and meet up at certain parts of the story throughout the game, because they're kind of working together in this whole thing. So if you like action adventure games, if you like, you know, there's some stealth a little bit into it, if you want to just run in guns blazing, you want to do different puzzles and things like that, Indiana Jones has all of that, and it looks kind of how I pictured it would look in my mind. So they didn't give us a solid release date for this game, but it did say 2024 in it. Now, if I had to guess, maybe it would come out in August, because I feel like it would say fall if it wasn't. So, like, right now, the lineup is kind of like, you got Hellblade 2 in May, which seems kind of far away when you think about it. Maybe they'll drop Towerborn or something else before then, because as of right now, we don't have a big game from Xbox releasing in the first quarter, unless they want to do Indiana Jones in there. I'm not sure. It looked pretty good. Like, it looked polished. It looked like it's almost ready to go. So maybe we'll get Indiana Jones as a surprise, but I would also think maybe they would announce that release date now if it was going to come that soon, right? So then you got Hellblade 2 in May, then Avowed in fall, which could be September, October. I don't think it'll be November, because as we know, Call of Duty comes out in November, and Microsoft now owns Call of Duty, so that'll be that big game. And then our History Untold, I feel like they can honestly throw it wherever. It might come out in December, to be honest, just because, just to fill that month out. So time will tell when we'll actually get to play these games exactly, but it's finally coming all together. That's what we've been saying this whole time. The dominoes are falling, everything's lining up. Phil Spencer said it last year, like, he can see it. He can see the lineup. He can see it all finally starting to come out consistently. Now, all we gotta do is wait for the games to come out, and hopefully they'll be good quality. But just from the minds of these developers and what we've been seeing, I think this year is going to be really good, a flagpole year for Xbox and Microsoft Game Studios. And then that was the whole direct. Now, there was no, shadow drop, no, hey, one last thing. There was nothing like that. I was surprised that Square Enix did show up here, because I thought this would be a developer direct with just first party, but apparently they threw them in there. So if I knew they would do that, my guesses and predictions as far as what would be the fifth game shown would have changed, but it is what it is. But either way, I'm excited for these games. I think Xbox is in very good hands right now. It's looking great. It's looking up despite all the drama and negativity surrounding the brand. I think 2024 is going to be a really great year. So 2023 was pretty good, and then leading into 2024, they're definitely taking the baton and keeping it running, and hopefully it'll keep going. We'll get into that cadence for the next few years. But you guys let me know down below, what was your most anticipated game from the developer direct? What are you most excited for? What were you most disappointed by? Y'all let me know in the comment section below, and of course, like the video, leave a comment, subscribe if you have not already. Click all the links in the description, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.
You had something they didn't. Something